Hello, little cherubs. Now, I hope you've had a lovely day. And I just am having a quick little break from work because I think my eyes are turning square. But I thought it would be nice if we just read a story this afternoon, because it's always great to listen to good stories. It's very calming and relaxing. But it's also a really good way for us to become better readers, because we listen to somebody else that's a fluent reader and we learn from that modelling and become fluent readers ourselves. So I think it would be really nice if we did read a story together. Now I'm just going to rearrange myself just slightly. Also, I added in a few more plants into my little display for you all. You could probably pick out the ones that weren't in there before and almost play Where's Wally with the new plants. But this is my growing jungle. I've still got quite a few to add, so I'm going to keep adding them in, and you can keep playing the game of find the new plants because that's exciting for me. But aren't they pretty? They're going so well, and let's all wish for none of them to die. Anyway, let's read a story. Let's spend a little bit of time together, and hopefully it'll make us feel very calm and relaxed. And then I'll give you a few ideas of some activities that you can do possibly this afternoon or maybe tomorrow in the morning when you get up out of bed and are looking for the next bit of learning to do. This story is probably best for kindergarten to year 4. The little tiny people will think it's really funny, and the big people, we can do some quite creative things with this story. So have a listen. You may dislike the story, and that's okay too. You're allowed to dislike stories, but it's always good to have a reason why you dislike something. So, like it, dislike it, have a reason why. So have a think about that while we're going. Okay, so the story that I'm going to read you today is called The Story of the Little Mole Who Knew It Was None of His Business. Now, while we're reading this story, give poor mum, dad, grandma, whoever is looking after you, a little break. Let's let them go and do them for a couple of minutes, and we're going to read this story together and just spend some quality time together, because I love you all dearly. All right, let's give it a whirl, and hopefully I'll be able to read some, and then I'll put the pictures up really close so that you can see the pictures nice and close, and I'll try and take my time with it. Okay, the story of the little mole who knew it was none of his business. The author of this story is Werner Holsworth, and the illustrator of this story is Wolf Earlbruck. Now, I hope I said those right, because I want to be very respectful of people, but also because the author and the illustrator are very, very important people. They have created this book for us. Let's give it a little whirl. Okay. One day, the little mole poked his head out from underground to see whether the sun had already risen. Then it happened. It looked like a little sausage, and the worst thing was that it landed right on his head. "How mean!" cried the little mole. "Who has done this on my head?" But he was so short-sighted that he couldn't see anyone around. Dearie me. So this poor little mole has ended up with something quite awful on his head. It does look a little bit like a wig though. I don't know if you were thinking that, but how they've drawn that picture looks a little bit like a wig. "Did you do this on my head?" he asked the dove who was flying past. "Me? No, how could I? I do it like this," she answered. And splish plish, a moist little white blob landed on the ground right next to the little mole. His right leg was splashed with white. "Oh dear, that's awful. Yuck, yuck, yuck." I wonder if you've ever had a bird accidentally poo on you. It's not very nice, but they do say that it's lucky. So I must be a very, very lucky person. "Did you do this on my head?" he asked the horse who was grazing in the pasture. "Me? No, how could I? I do it like this." And flump, flump, 5 big fat horsey apples plonked down within a hair's breadth of the mole. He was very impressed. size of them all. Deary me. But they're mainly just hay. Did you do this on my head? He asked the hare. Me? No. How could I? I do it like this, answered the hare. And rat-a-tat-tat, 15 little round beans shot past the mole's ears. He saved himself with a daring leap. Oh, lucky he leapt out of the way. Did you do this on my head? He asked the goat, who had been dreaming a little. Me? No, how could I? I do it like this, she replied. And plippity-plop, a pile of toffee-coloured little balls tumbled on the grass. The little mole found them almost appealing. Ooh, yuck. That's gross. I guess they do look like little bits of chocolate. I wouldn't recommend it. Not that I've ever tried. Okay. Did you do this on my head? He asked the cow, who was chewing the cud. Moo? No, how could I? I do it like this. And kaplosh! A big brownish-green pancake flopped into the grass just next to the mole. He was very relieved that it hadn't been the cow, who had done something on his head. Oh, thank goodness for that. Imagine having that big splodgy puddle on your head. Gross. Ugh. Okay. Did you do this on my head? He asked the pig. Me? No. How could I? I do it like this, replied the pig. And plop splat, a little soft brown pile fell onto the grass. The mole held his nose. Ugh. Yuck, booey. Did you do this on my head? He was going to ask again, but as he came closer, he only saw 2 big, fat, black flies, and they were eating. At last, someone who will be able to help me, thought the mole. Who did this on my head? He asked excitedly. Keep nice and still, buzzed the flies. There was a short pause, and then, it is clear to us that it was a dog. Ooh. Oh, I've got to show you those pictures. Here's the 2 little flies on those big round balls of poop. Yuck, 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 yuck. Finally, the little mole knew who had done the business on his head. Basil, the butcher's dog. Oh, not Basil. Basil's so cute. I think it was an accident. I don't think Basil meant it. Quick as a flash, he climbed onto Basil's kennel. And bling! A tiny black sausage landed right on top of the dog's head. Oh dear! Oh, look how dirty it is. Basil's huge. Satisfied at last, the little mole disappeared happily into his hole underground. And that, my friends, is the end of the story. So, I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, have a think why, what it was about that story that you didn't enjoy. If you did enjoy that story, that's wonderful. I'm glad. I'm glad you thought it was funny or peculiar or was really interesting. Now, what I would like you to do is, now that you've read this story, I want you to have a think about a different animal that you could perhaps introduce into the story. You could think of the noises that those bits of business might make, and which animals would be really interesting. Now, if you're one of the bigger kids, you might like to write down a page of the story yourself, and actually I suggest you do, because it does get really creative when we have a go of things like that ourselves. So we have in the story, it starts with the mole, of course, and then we have the pigeon, the dove, not a pigeon, oh, forgive me. The horse, the hare, which is like a rabbit, a big rabbit, I guess, the goat, the cow, and I hope you liked all the voices I did for those, because that was tricky on the spot, the pig, the 2 little flies, and then Basil, the butcher's dog. So you could have a think about what kind of animal would be really interesting to add into that story. What pages could you add if you just flipped over to a page and wanted to add in a page? So think about the animal, think about the size of the business, think about the sounds, the words that you could use to describe the sounds, and how the mole might escape having that business done on him. So it's really interesting, and I'd love to see what you come up with and how creative we can get. So enjoy. Go and do that for about 20 minutes. If you're going to illustrate it as well, how wonderful. You might spend a little bit longer doing that. And give mum or dad or whoever's looking after you and teaching you everything at home, give them a little break. And don't forget your challenge. Make mum or dad a cuppa. Be brave, stay kind. Love you. Bye.